Okay, so we look at Sherlock Holmes, the Devil's Daughter, and specifically my thoughts on the game. Now, as I covered in my technical breakdown of the game, this is really a title that will divide people's opinions. A lot of people will hate it, and a lot will love it, because of its focus, its demographic it appeals to, and the way it executes itself in gameplay style. It doesn't give a lot of leeway to those who might not be totally sold on a murder mystery story first and foremost, and having gameplay complexity and development come second. Visually, The Devil's Daughter is easily the most gorgeous of all the series. It has beautiful, vibrant colours and detailed worlds that genuinely make it feel very real, and the sets and open areas to explore and walk around are much more expansive than previous titles. However, don't get it wrong, they are still small when compared to much larger scale games that utilise open worlds. But comparing it to where it previously sat, it's built up its environment significantly, and it has only benefited from it. Thankfully, in tandem with this, performance is decent. It's not perfect, I still experience some stuttering when loading in new areas, but it's solid enough, and its 21x9 support is just passable, with the WideAsFcuk score I gave it in my technical breakdown of the game at 2 out of 5. If you want to see the whole video on the 21x9 support review, then just check it out in the description or have a look over on my channel. So gameplay wise, controlling Holmes in any character is dramatically better than ever before. Controls are very smooth, animations moving far away from their previous stiff postures, and a far cry from the days of the Testament of Sherlock Holmes, where actions were so forced and repetitive, and such a flow killer, as even opening a door was a painfully set routine of preset animations. I also can't bash some of the small gameplay mini-games like lockpicking and analysis of a new person to determine their character. However, there are moments which feel a bit undercooked, and some which are just drawn out too much. A good example here is the minigame earwigging, listening in on others' conversations, and really this could have been executed better. But at the same time, I've read people bashing its execution over how ridiculous it is that you can only hear one important line and then you leave. But honestly, I don't care. I would rather just hear the important line and leave out the random unhelpful chat that would just make up the rest of what those characters might be talking about. But on the whole, it's a solid set of gameplay moments that, yes, won't challenge your ability to traverse the world, but instead will push you to think and work out the puzzles instead. It's a nice thing to have to think instead of being told absolutely everything like an idiot in the way every other game believes it's the right way to do it. However, on this point, I do feel it pushes you just a little too hard in the right direction on occasion. The nudges at times are totally right and simply a good way to avoid making the player frustrated and waste time looking for more clues when there aren't any more to find. But yeah, sometimes they are just a bit too obvious and could have been thought about a bit more in how to direct the player towards them without pointing them out right away in cases. Now, as I say, the storytelling is a key part of this game, and I feel it does a good job at keeping you interested and keen to keep pushing to work out what happened. A fantastic part of that, once you have progressed to essentially the end of the investigation, you then get to decide the fate of the perpetrator, and you could do the right thing or the wrong thing, but you live with whatever you choose, and it's great. It's a superb development on the game's attempt to pull you in and make you responsible for all of your choices. And like with the gameplay developments, the way characters talk and interact with one another is far more real, once again moving past the stiff, stunted conversations of previous games. And the new Holmes and Watson are brilliant, and I really like the new take on them. A more interesting duo, though with a relationship that wasn't utilised as much as it should have been here. On the development of the environment, it has had small add-ins like having a balcony into the street from the apartment and being able to walk out the front door into a busy street. Now these might seem like small things, but they sell you on making Holmes and Watson feel so much more real. Now, talking of Watson, this is one area that I feel the game stumbles big time, and is something I really think they should be addressing with a totally separate game. Watson is supposed to be the reason that we know anything about Holmes. He writes about Holmes, and so I would love to have a game centered around you as Watson, and you're living with Holmes and exploring the world with Holmes, and you are his companion. And instead of driving the story, you are not in control, but instead you must work with what Holmes's choices mean to you. I really think this could be a fantastic piece of work if executed well, and told with great detail and focusing on Watson's emotions with Holmes, and any of the situations that the two find themselves in. But yeah, who knows, and it probably will never be made, but I like the idea of it. The wackier side of the game is something I must cover, as Frogwares always manages to make moments that you are just like, what the hell is going on? And they didn't disappoint here. One scene has you following a man down a street in a chase kind of thing that is actually, well, it's pretty boring, and it's repetitive, and something that I wish was removed from the game. But ridiculously, at one point you need to get to the roof, and so you stumble into a room where a chimney sweep is refusing to go and clean the chimney. So in the middle of a damn chase, you clean the chimney whilst climbing it, and then you exclaim when you reach the top that you can't believe the guy you were chasing is still at the bottom on the streets. It's absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't have imagined that ever being a thing in a game. I'm just lost for words. It really is at the point where it's so bad that it's just good. Now, on a bit of a less weird tone, the use of making you control a dog and the little boy, for example, is strange, and it doesn't really add much to the game, but I suppose it's a bit entertaining in the small doses that they give it to you in. I must say, I would really love to see what Frogwares and the other teams working on this could do if they were given enough money for a full open world. The potential there could be superb. Anyway, overall, whilst this game has its wacky moments and its duller moments, I feel it succeeds in many other areas, and totally deserves being picked up if what I've described is appealing to you at all. Unfortunately, the ultra-wide support isn't great. Again, if you want to see my full 21x9 support review, check out the description for a link for it, or just go over to my channel. But the support is still good enough for us to enjoy playing it. So I hope that gives you some information on how the game runs at 21x9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For any of the games at 21x9, head over to my channel. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description. See you later.